Dwayne Thomas Petrie, file number 247146FH, time of day sentencing. Petrie is present, represented by attorney Michelle R. Siv. People are represented by assistant prosecuting attorney Alexander Honey. By way of history, back on August 5th of this year, Mr. Petrie had pled no contest to animal killing, torturing, third degree. The pre-sentence report has been prepared in this matter by Ms. Alexander. It's dated August 19, 2024. Ms. Siv, have you and your client had the opportunity to review the pre-sentence report?
Yes, we have.
Are there any additions, deletions, corrections, or objections?
No, yeah.
Do you agree with that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Honey, any objection to the report as well as guidelines?
None from the people.
Thank you. Any objection to scoring the guidelines?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. What would you like to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, thank you. That considering everything, I would ask the court to adopt the recommendation that was made by Ms. Alexander. Mr. Petrie does not have any prior felony conviction on his record. He had also been employed with Amazon appliance and delivering packages. And I would ask the court to also consider, we did receive a copy of the prosecutor's memo to the court in sentencing. And I just wanted to mention a few things about the memo and also things that the court should consider. In the prosecutor's memo, a letter written by Dr. Michael Huron was referenced. We did receive a copy of that letter. And I would ask the court to also consider as to what that letter contained in regards to the dog here. And it was reported that the dog was bright, alert, and responsive, and ambulatory on all fours. That besides the location of the injury of the dog, coat was full, besides the location of the injury. And it was referenced that the dog was tested and did show positive for heartworm disease and Lyme disease. There was not any indication as to there weren't any symptoms of those diseases, which would, I believe, indicate that it was still pretty early on in regards to what stage the dog was at that time. So I would ask the court to consider that. Also, Mr. Petrie did provide, and we also provided to the prosecutor's office, information and verification that he did contact a couple of veterinary offices prior to police contact in regards to the animal and getting the food treated on the animal. And, it was going on a holiday weekend, Memorial Day weekend, and when he did call, he spoke to Dr. James McRae's office, and unfortunately, he was not available to have Mr. Petrie bring the animal in to be treated, and advised him to call other veterinary offices, which he did. There was verification that he did call the vet that is located in San Francisco as well. However, he did not receive a response from them, given the short notice and whatnot. But I would ask the court to consider that he did make attempts to have the animal treated for the injuries, and there was no actual intent to harm the animal. We don't really argue in regards to the neglect portion, but the animal was a part of Mr. Petrie's family for over 10 years, and I would ask for that as well.
Does your client wish to address the court in light of the no contest?
I just want to apologize for the circumstances that happened to my pet, Your Honor. I didn't mean to have these circumstances happen the way that it did.
Well, how do you explain neighbors reporting that they would feed and water the dog more than you?
I do not understand that, honestly, Your Honor. I have no idea.
These are your own neighbors.
I honestly do not know that. I cannot explain that. I've always taken care of my pets, and I've always brought them in and brought him in my house. He lived with us. He lived in my house. He lived in my home. I have verification from other neighbors that he has lived in my home and has come into my house.
But there's another pet that was brought in that the two don't get along, correct?
I do not understand why that was said.
That's what I read. So.
I know. I had another dog. I had to keep them separated because this pet right here was not neutered, and he was still. I don't want to say horny, but I had to keep him away from. She was a female and she was not spaded yet. I had to wait to get her spaded after a certain amount of time, and I didn't want him to impregnate her.
So you're stating that you would normally feed and water the dog, despite what your neighbors said?
Yes, I would always take care of them.
Well, how would you notice the back of the dog where all the injuries were?
That happened on, on that Friday, sir. I noticed that injury, he never had it prior to that.
Bahani, on behalf of the people, and the court did read the sentencing aid memorandum mentions.
And Your Honor, I hope the court was able to view the photos that were taken by the Michigan State Police that were attached as an electronic exhibit to that particular.
Oh, you know what? I did. Yes, I did. I do recall that.
Your Honor, as this court well knows, it's rare for the people to charge a felony animal cruelty case. It hasn't happened since I've been here. This is the first one. And simply because of the fact, Your Honor, that this case was horrific. The Michigan State Police were notified by the neighbors that the dog was being neglected, that the neighbors were constantly feeding and watering it. Upon the arrival on the scene, the trooper noticed that the dog was chained to a tree and all of the ground around that area was beaten down, that it had been there for a long time. There was no grass in the area, and the pictures that we have submitted to the court indicate the same. The dog was alert and bright and friendly. And in fact, when the trooper decided to impound the dog under the animal cruelty statute, it jumped right into his car and rode over to the animal shelter with it, escaping its plight for a short time. Your Honor, upon examination by the veterinarian, Dr. Herman, he noted that the animal was indeed infected with heartworms, which he indicated in an interview, and with Dean Forrester, the administrator of the Thumb Animal Shelter, is an entirely preventable disease with a monthly pill that can be purchased over the counter at any of the farm supply stores in the county. He also noted that the dog was infected with Lyme disease, which is an entirely preventable disease if an animal is properly cared for and entirely treatable early on. Due to the advanced age of the animal, the veterinarian estimated his age at about 9 years old. He knew that the dog wouldn't be able to survive the treatment and made the decision to euthanize at that time. And the injury on the back of the dog was certainly not something that was new either. Dr. Herman indicated that it was infested with insect larvae, indicating that it had been present for some time, and that he wasn't sure exactly what caused that injury. However, it appeared that the animal had been subjected to some sort of caustic chemical. That was all he could figure that would cause such an injury. Your Honor, the state police never did learn the name of this dog, so the Thumb Animal Shelter nicknamed him Sarge, and he was friendly for the whole time that he was there, until the time that the decision was made to euthanize him. Your Honor, it is the responsibility of people, humans, to take care of animals. They can't speak out for themselves. And luckily, the neighbors did end his suffering by bringing this to the attention of the Michigan State Police. But respectfully, we disagree with the recommendation from the Department of Corrections. The jail term here should not be held in abeyance because of the absolute horrific injuries that this animal suffered at the defendant's hands because of his neglect. This is an individual that does not need to own animals. This is an individual who needs a longer term of probation, we feel, because the court can order that he cannot own any animal of any kind during a probationary period for this particular charge, and we're asking for that. But more so, Your Honor, it's speaking for those that can't be spoken for. This dog didn't have a chance, and that's horrible. He was a good boy, this defendant isn't.
Your Honor, there was not any indication as to the dog not being fed or watered properly. I believe there was no indication that the dog was not fed. The fact that the neighbors would get a dog food and water during whatever time of the day did not indicate that it was not being fed or given water. The vet have see that we upon him, right? And I just asked to know that you know, the dog was outside, we had a trade group home, so it's not like it was change of treatment, that was it. It's behind it. Way different picture than what it actually was. Yes, it's unfortunate that the dog had the injury and was not treated. However, he was a family dog earlier, but he was 15 years old, so I would ask the court to consider that as well.
Well, under the eyes of the law, when it comes to personal property, animals are treated as personal property. Dogs, cats, cattle, any livestock. So when it comes to a fair market value, that's what you look at. That's the way the court, or not the court, but that's the way the law looks at the damages. But there's also another side to this too, and that is the love and affection of a pet that you have. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a pet owner too. And you want to keep them as long as you possibly can, but you have to take care of them. There's certain obligations and responsibilities you have to follow. And Mr. Petrie is no exception to that. Clearly, has no prior felony record to speak of. The misdemeanors are not significant to the court, but there are 2 prior misdemeanors. But at the end of the day, when you look at the photographs and you saw how this animal was treated, there's no explanation for it. I mean, I heard one side of the story, but the old saying, "A picture speaks 1,000 words." It clearly spoke 1,000 words to this court for you, those photographs. I have to consider also the history of Mr. Petrie, as I've already mentioned, and considering all that, it will be the sentence of this court that the defendant be placed on a term of probation for a period of 18 months. That's an extension of what was being recommended, 18 months of probation. Standard conditions include not to violate any criminal law of any government, not to leave the state of Michigan without prior approval, and notifying the probation agent at least monthly at such times and places the agent may require. He's not to engage in any assaultive, abusive, threatening, or intimidating behavior, nor use any object as a weapon, or own, use, or have under his control or area control weapon of any type, not even an imitation. He's to allow the agent into his residence at any time of supervision where he must submit to a search of his person or property, including but not limited to his vehicle, home, and computer without the need of a warrant if the agent has reasonable cause to believe that the defendant has items that violate his probation. He is gainfully employed as a standard employment provision is going to be ordered. Restitution of Thumb Animal Shelter, the amount of $246.92. He's to execute a wage assignment to pay that if he's employed and misses 2 regularly scheduled payments. Crime victims assessment of $130 to be ordered. Probation supervision fee of $30 regular, $60 electronic. Court costs of $100 payable at the rate of $10 a month, $100 fine at $10 a month. Attorney fees of $400 payable at the rate of $30 a month, $68 in state costs. The probation agents are authorized and empowered under statute to effect the defendant's apprehension, detention, or confinement up to 72 hours on reasonable cause. The defendant has violated conditions of his probation. If referred to successfully complete PA 511 programming based upon eligibility. The court is also going to order that it takes 40 hours of community service that must be completed over the balance of his probation. The probation can be, or I should say, the community service can be in the form of assisting, as an example, the Thumb Animal Shelter. But it can be anything as long as it's civic, religious, fraternal, governmental, nonprofit entities. But I think that would be a good suggestion. Regarding animals in this case, at this point, people are requesting that he have no pets during the course of his probation. You still have 1 at your home, correct?
I have 3, sir. I have cats.
No other dogs?
No, I was ordered to relocate the other dog, so we ended up selling,
Okay.
giving her to a family.
I won't make any prohibition regarding cats at this time, but while you're on probation, you are not to have a dog of any type.
Yes, sir.
I'll order that as well. Finally, regarding the jail time in this case, the guideline range is 0 to 3, if I recall correctly. It's recommended 30 days held in advance with credit for 2 days served. It will be the sentence of this court that you do serve 30 days in the county jail, credit for 2 days served. You are to serve an additional weekend, this coming weekend, beginning Friday after work, at least Monday morning before work. So that would be 3 additional days of jail time. And the other remaining days will be held in advance. The reason the court is putting the jail time up front regarding the 3 additional days is because based upon those photographs, sir, I couldn't imagine treating a pet like that. The way the pet was, it's unspeakable. So that'll give you time to think about this, and when things do turn around after your probationary term is over and you decide you want to get into having a pet again, you remember that. Because I don't want you in a situation where we see another pet. You need to inform you of the right to seek reasonable deal. If you're financially unable to provide counsel of your own choice, court will assign counsel for your public expense. Please initial the receiving questionnaire form requesting the assignment of counsel, both of which must be executed under oath and filed with the clerk of the court within 42 days. Yes, we're good. Good point. Sir, what time do you get out of work on Friday?
Usually, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
And how far are you from Maddox where you get out of work?
Bayport,
Bayport? You report to the county jail Friday at 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
You can be released Monday morning at 4 a.m.
Okay,
The community service, also, you must provide proof of that to the probation office. That'll be
Yes,
all.
sir.
Good luck to you. All right.